the heart of Abia State, emotions ran high as groups of women gathered in large numbers, chanting passionately that Orji Uzor Kalu had destroyed Abia through years of poor leadership and unfulfilled promises. Their voices echoed through streets and market squares, expressing deep frustration over what they described as neglected infrastructure, struggling schools, unpaid workers, and stalled development. While their chants reflected anger and disappointment, they also revealed something deeper, a cry for accountability and a demand for better governance ahead of the 2027 elections. For many of these women, this was not just protest. It was a declaration that the future of Abia must not be compromised again. What began as scattered conversations among traders and mothers soon transformed into organized civic engagement. Women who once limited political discussions to private gatherings began stepping into the public space with confidence. From Aba to Umuahia and across rural communities, their message became unified. Leadership must produce visible results. For years, many of these women say they endured broken promises. They recall campaigns filled with bold assurances of economic revival, road reconstruction, youth employment, and educational reform. Yet, according to community leaders, much of that vision did not fully materialize in ways that significantly transformed everyday life for ordinary citizens. Market women speak of roads that remained impassable during rainy seasons, affecting business and transportation of goods. Mothers recount challenges within public schools, overcrowded classrooms, limited learning materials, and facilities in need of urgent attention. Health workers share concerns about under-equipped primary healthcare centers, particularly in rural communities. The frustration expressed by these women is not simply about politics, it is about lived experiences. It is about waking up each morning to face economic hardship while hearing repeated assurances that change is on the horizon. For many, 2027 represents not just another election year, but a defining moment for the direction of the state. Observers note that this renewed activism is not driven by hostility, but by determination. The language may be strong, but the underlying principle remains accountability. The women insist that governance should be evaluated by measurable impact: jobs created, roads completed, healthcare improved, and educational standards raised. As discussions evolve, attention also turns to the current administration under Alex Oti. Some citizens argue that rebuilding a state requires time and strategic planning, particularly when inherited challenges are significant. Supporters point to financial reforms, administrative restructuring, and early-stage development projects as evidence that progress is being laid. However, others maintain that transformation must be felt at the grassroots level. They argue that ordinary families should already be experiencing noticeable relief in economic pressures and infrastructure improvements. For them, leadership is validated not by speeches, but by tangible improvements in daily life. Women-led associations across the state have begun organizing town hall meetings to evaluate governance performance. These forums allow citizens to speak freely about their expectations and experiences. Issues frequently raised include comprehensive road rehabilitation in both urban and rural areas, expansion of microcredit support for small-scale women entrepreneurs, improved teacher recruitment and training, strengthening of primary healthcare systems, and transparent budgeting and public accountability mechanisms. These discussions are shaping a new political culture centered on issue-based engagement rather than personality-driven campaigns. One striking aspect of this movement is its intergenerational nature. Elderly women who remember earlier political transitions sit side by side with younger professionals and students. Together, they reflect on past leadership cycles and what must change moving forward. Many emphasize that the mistakes of previous administrations should serve as lessons, not recurring patterns. Religious institutions and community organizations have encouraged peaceful civic participation. Clergy and traditional leaders consistently remind citizens that democracy thrives when voices are raised responsibly. The women echo this sentiment, emphasizing that their advocacy is about progress, not division. In many gatherings, speakers stress the concept of ordinary values: integrity, transparency, service, and compassion. They argue that these principles must guide public office holders. Leadership, they say, should be about stewardship of resources and protection of the vulnerable. Political analysts believe women voters will play a decisive role in 2027. With their numerical strength and organizational networks, they represent a formidable constituency. Campaign strategists are already paying attention to their demands, recognizing that rhetoric alone may no longer sway the electorate. There's also a growing emphasis on voter education. Civic groups are encouraging women to register, verify their voter status, and participate actively in policy discussions. Workshops on governance literacy are equipping participants with knowledge about budgeting processes, legislative responsibilities, and electoral rights. The broader message emerging from this awakening is clear. Governance must align with the needs of the people. Economic empowerment must move beyond slogans. Infrastructure must be more than promises on campaign banners. Social services must be accessible and effective. For many Abia women, the coming election represents hope renewed. They believe that by raising their voices early and consistently, they can shape the political narrative rather than react to it. Their chants, though born from frustration, are evolving into structured advocacy for sustainable development. The story unfolding in Abia is ultimately one of civic empowerment. It is about mothers who refuse to accept stagnation. It is about entrepreneurs who demand better business environments. It is about communities that long for equitable growth. As 2027 approaches, candidates across party lines will likely intensify outreach efforts. Yet the electorate appears more discerning than ever. They're asking harder questions. They're demanding clearer plans. They're seeking leaders who demonstrate competence and accountability. The rising voice of Abia women signals a turning point. Whether evaluating past administrations or scrutinizing present leadership, they are determined that the future must look different from the past. Their activism is reshaping political engagement in the state. In the end, this movement is not about one individual alone. It is about the principle that leadership carries responsibility. It is about ensuring that every child has access to quality education, every community has reliable infrastructure, and every hard-working citizen can pursue prosperity with dignity. As chants continue to echo through markets and town halls, one truth stands firm. The women of Abia are no longer silent observers of politics. They are active participants in shaping destiny. And as the countdown to 2027 continues, their collective voice may well determine the next chapter in the state's democratic journey.